Well, spring is finally coming. So's 2016. And in the Granite State, prospective presidential candidates are already streaming in. Some are new faces, but we could ultimately end up with a contest between a Clinton and a Bush.
I know that there are lots of other people with great ideas if they could break into the system. So, yeah, it is disturbing.
I would certainly support Clinton because I'm a proud liberal. However, I'm a little tired of the same families.
So that's not a problem for you if there's this sense of recurring dynasty.
No, it's pretty clear for me.
A Bush facing a Clinton.
Oh, that's the last thing I want.
You don't want to see that.
Either of them. They're obviously very passionate.
Been there, done that.
In our March Madness matchup today, we begin with, do you like my announcer voice? Democrat Marianne Marsh. She's playing for a Wheaton College. She makes her points every week. She's our leading scorer. And Republican Rob Gray out of Middlebury. He's the best defender in the country. He can break down any position. So we had to do a little Marchy Madness-y thing. So.
Not two schools that are
right.
going to be on the map anytime
D3. Some of us come from schools that should be involved, and they're not involved. So let's not even.
We won't say Michigan at all. Right here, right now.
So, is there enough Bush-Clinton fatigue for New Hampshire voters to really sort of change the course of 2016, Marianne?
No, they both have to earn the support of the voters and the trust, but the path is much more difficult for Bush than it is for Clinton. Bush has a very crowded primary. Family doesn't have a great record of winning up there. Hillary Clinton has a much clearer path in the primary and a lot more success in the New Hampshire primary.
Is there Bush-Clinton fatigue in New Hampshire, do you think, this coming year?
Well, sure there is, but who's the competition going to be? That's what it comes down to. They're still the two big names, but Marianne is right. That Bush has not done well. The Bushes have not done well in New Hampshire. And if I'm Jeb Bush, I'm downplaying expectations there so that a win, even a slight win, is an upset.
Let me mention Donald Trump. He's in the news this week. He can't stop himself. He campaigned in New Hampshire this past week to the moans and groans of a lot of Republicans in the Granite State. Rob, do his antics help or hurt anyone else, anyone in the race?
He's a sideshow, of course. And let me tell you something else. His hair is not as great as he thinks it is, right? But the only thing he provides really is cotton candy to the media. I mean, it's an interesting sideshow to cover. It's not going to impact the race in any serious way.
Your read, Marianne?
It's a 25-year-long publicity ruse, and even NBC has already come out and said they're doing his show again. So this will go up to the filing deadline, maybe, or when they start filming The Apprentice again.
So let's switch over to Beacon Hill. The Big Three want to hire a consultant to make sure that Boston 2024 doesn't take taxpayers to the cleaners. Do you think it's really possible to stop that from happening, Rob?
Well, the question is, who's the consultant and who are they connected to? I mean, we had a study come out this week that was put out by UMass Boston. Well, UMass Boston has an interest in the Olympics, so do I believe a word in that study? No. The interesting thing is, though, it's already costing taxpayers money because we're going to pay for this study. It's a good idea, but this is already starting to incur costs to the state.
Is Rob right about that, Marianne?
Well, look, there's political costs for the big three involved. I mean, the fact is probably all three of them will still be in office when the bid is awarded. And why not bring other resources to it? Where's the state auditor? Where's the post-audit and oversight committee that has subpoena power? There are plenty of state resources that can be brought to bear here and should, given the very questionable start that they're off to.
And remember the timing. The timing for that, the awarding is 2017. That is fairly close.
It is because Charlie Baker's still governor. It's likely both Rosenberg and DeLeo are still in office. You know, and Marty Walsh too, political consequences across the board.
But to Rob's point, is it really possible to hire an independent, neutral consultant to give them just the facts?
You have to, and you have to put other people on the hook too, like Suzanne Bump, the auditor, like the chairmen of the post-audit and oversight committee. Those are the kinds of things that have to be brought to bear so everybody's got skin in the game.
Doesn't some money have to get involved here to make our environment maybe better, perhaps? I mean, couldn't you argue, all right, the taxpayers may have to pay for this consultant firm, but in the end, it's going to improve the infrastructure in town?
Well, the problem is that the infrastructure improvements we need may not be related to building a gigantic stadium south of the city. I mean, in reality, we may need them in other parts of greater Boston. So, you know, the question is the priorities. The priorities might be different even if the money is there.
I want to talk about what's going to happen this week. A cast of 1,000 political stars, including the president, the first lady, the vice president, will descend on Boston next week for the opening of the Ted Kennedy Institute. Marianne, it's almost been 6 years since the senator passed away. Where do you see the family's political clout today?
Well, first, I think it's wonderful that the president, the vice president, the first lady, everyone's coming for this event. But the fact is, it's tough when you had a family that had a president of the United States, a U.S. Attorney General, and a senator. It's tough when your family had probably the best United States senator ever in Ted Kennedy. That said, Congressman Joe Kennedy, who's been a guest here many times, has a very bright future. He's a hard worker. He's the workhorse. He's focusing on things that matter, like building out the middle class in STEM. That's becoming a national model. That's how you get real political power.
Rob?
I think Marianne's right. That's where the clout rests at this point. With Joe Kennedy, he's in Congress. He may have sights on higher office in Massachusetts, whether it be senator or governor. But that's pretty much where it ends at this point in time.
Maura Healey this week, she first banned e-cigarettes for those under 18, and then she announced that she'll be more aggressive in defending the Open Public Records Law, an issue that has been long neglected for the most part. What's the message that she's trying to send to Beacon Hill coming this big week in the media?
Well, she's keeping her campaign promises. And when you do that, people trust you. And when people trust you in politics, you can get a lot done. So in less than 2 months, Maura Healey's made a big, big mark already.
Is there more at stake here than that, Rob?
Well, a lot of people are speculating about her running for higher office, and the problem for Maura Healey is through no fault of her own. She's inherited the curse of the Attorney General here in Massachusetts, which is they don't have a good record moving up. They've lost many, many gubernatorial races in the last 20 years.
We continue on the record in just a minute, and you thought Mitt Romney wasn't getting back in the ring.